Hello everyone, welcome to Mind Podcast Buddhism. Today we will explore a profound topic, emptiness, the Buddha's solution to humanity's greatest problem. Let's dive into the depths of Buddhist philosophy and uncover the true meaning and significance of emptiness in our lives. Emptiness, the Buddha's solution to humanity's greatest problem. Emptiness is one of the most important doctrines in Buddhism, and also one of the most misunderstood by non-Buddhists. Critics of Buddhism often fail to understand or misinterpret the meanings of the terms form and emptiness in Buddhism. They confuse or exploit the homophonic nature of these terms in Vietnamese and Sino-Vietnamese, equating two completely different concepts to distort Buddhist teachings. These two concepts are the negation term, non-existence, opposed to existence, and the concept of emptiness as the lack of intrinsic essence in all phenomena. Additionally, some authors use sophistry to equate two different but closely related concepts, existence and form. Existence is an affirmative auxiliary verb opposed to non-existence, a negation adverb. Form is a Buddhist term referring to matter, the physical body, or the four elements of earth, water, wind, and fire. These two concepts have entirely different meanings, yet many critics with bias against Buddhism deliberately misinterpret them to slander Buddhism. Below are some preliminary explanations of the term emptiness in Buddhism. 1. Emptiness and meditation. In the Nikaya and Agama scriptures, the term emptiness is often described in connection with the practice of meditation. For example, emptiness, meaning empty, solitary, tranquil, deserted, is linked with the method of practicing mindfulness through breathing in and out. Monks go to the forest, to the root of a tree, or to an empty place, sit cross-legged, keep your body upright, set mindfulness before you, and breathe in and out mindfully. Additionally, empty place means a place without inhabitants, a deserted place, a solitary place, generally referring to hills, caves, forests, or open spaces. Thus, the imperative "go to an empty place" has implicitly become an idiom describing the practice of mindful breathing, or generally Buddhist meditation. This meditative state is often called dwelling in emptiness. The Buddha often praised, "Any noble disciple who lives in an empty place or emptiness is truly supreme." This is the emptiness of self. A noble disciple who dwells in an empty place becomes immovable, so that even a hair does not move. Such a method of meditative contemplation on emptiness is called emptiness samadhi, which is meditation on the non-substantiality of the self and phenomena. The Buddha also affirmed that dwelling in emptiness is the dwelling of the great ones in their practice. 2. Emptiness means non-self. Since emptiness is the lack of intrinsic essence of the self and phenomena, it is also understood as non-self. This important point is taught by the Buddha in the Sutta Nipata through the following excerpt. Mogaraja, always be mindful and aware to abandon the notion of self and see the world as empty, without intrinsic essence. This indicates a very close relationship between abandoning the notion of self and realizing the world as devoid of intrinsic essence. In other words, seeing the emptiness of the world is based on seeing non-self. When asked by Ananda, what is meant by the world devoid of intrinsic essence, the Buddha replied, "Ananda, the world is called devoid of intrinsic essence because it lacks self and what belongs to self. Ananda, the I is not self, nor what belongs to self. Form is not self, nor what belongs to self. I consciousness is not self, nor what belongs to self. Eye contact is not self, nor what belongs to self. Similarly, the ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind are not self, nor what belongs to self. The sensations of pain, pleasure, or neutrality arising from mind contact are not self, nor what belongs to self." It should also be noted that in Buddhist philosophy, the concept of the world refers to the six senses, their six corresponding objects, the six consciousnesses, the six contacts, and the six feelings arising from the contact of the six senses with their objects. Therefore, the world devoid of intrinsic essence, non-self, and lacking what belongs to self, means that the six senses, their objects, the six consciousnesses, the six contacts, and the six feelings arising from their contact with objects are all non-self, devoid of self, and what belongs to self. In other words, the emptiness of the world or phenomena is also the non-self, the lack of intrinsic essence of self or what belongs to self. 3. Emptiness means dependent origination, impermanence, and non-self. A crucial point that critics of Buddhism often miss is that emptiness is also dependent origination, and conversely, whatever is dependently originated is non-substantial. According to Buddhism, the dependent origination of all phenomena is their characteristic. Since dependent origination is also emptiness, emptiness is the characteristic of phenomena. In other words, the characteristic of phenomena is non-substantiality, or dependent origination, or non-self. Therefore, the Buddha stated that the teachings of the Tathagata, profound, deep, and superb, are all related to emptiness. In another scripture, the relationship between emptiness and dependent origination is seen as the hallmark of the Buddha's teachings, distinct from Brahman teachings and non-Buddhist philosophies. I teach the monks this Dhamma, holy, superb, related to emptiness, and consistent with the law of dependent origination. According to the Buddhist teachings, whatever is dependently originated is impermanent and non-self. This understanding is expressed through the spatial and temporal relationships of phenomena. Spatially, all phenomena are non-substantial or non-self, while temporally, all dependently originated phenomena are impermanent. The dual aspects of impermanence and non-self of phenomena lead to unsatisfactoriness. This philosophy is considered a unique characteristic of the Buddha's teachings compared to other religious doctrines. In summary, whatever is dependently originated is emptiness, and whatever is dependently originated is impermanent and non-self. Therefore, whatever is emptiness is impermanent and non-self, and conversely, whatever is impermanent and non-self is dependent origination and emptiness. Hence, the Ekottara Gama defines, emptiness is, this is not myself, this is not mine, and this is not what I am. 4. Emptiness and the middle way. According to the Buddha, the method of meditative contemplation on the emptiness and dependent origination of phenomena is one of the ways to eliminate attachment and craving, leading to the tranquilization of formations effectively. The tranquilization of formations, cessation of craving, leading to dispassion and cessation of suffering is the path to nirvana. This process of understanding occurs in 2 stages. First, realizing the characteristics of phenomena, and then realizing nirvana. Realizing the characteristics of phenomena means realizing that phenomena are dependently originated or empty. Buddhist scriptures refer to those who attain wisdom about the dependent origination and emptiness of phenomena as those liberated by wisdom, or those who enter the middle way. In other words, seeing dependent origination and emptiness is seeing the middle way. The Buddha called dependent origination the middle way because it avoids the 2 extremes of the views of existence and non-existence. To believe that all phenomena exist is one extreme leading to eternalism. To believe that all phenomena do not exist is the opposite extreme leading to annihilationism. Avoiding these 2 extremes, the Buddha taught the middle way, or dependent origination. When this exists, that comes to be. With the arising of this, that arises. That is, from ignorance as a condition, formations come to be. From formations as a condition, consciousness comes to be. From consciousness as a condition, name and form comes to be. This is the entire mass of suffering. Similarly, when this does not exist, that does not come to be. With the cessation of this, that ceases. That is, with the cessation of ignorance, formations cease. With the cessation of formations, consciousness ceases. This is the cessation of the entire mass of suffering. 5. The method of contemplation on emptiness, provisionality, and the middle way. Since emptiness is dependent origination, non-self, non-substantiality, a provisional concept, and the middle way to avoid extremes, the method of contemplation in the Madhyamaka school and its associated traditions is called emptiness, provisionality, and the middle. The concept of provisional in provisional name here does not mean false as opposed to true, but rather the non-substantial provisional nature of phenomena. Nagarjuna stated in his Madhyamika Karika about this tripartite relationship. Whatever is dependently originated, I call it empty. It is also provisionally named, and it is also the middle way. Never have any phenomena arisen that are not dependently originated. Therefore, all phenomena are empty. Contemplation on the emptiness of human beings and phenomena is also contemplation on their non-substantial provisional nature, provisional name, or the path of dependent origination, the middle way. 6. The meaning of form in form is emptiness. The term emptiness, as mentioned, does not mean non-existence opposed to existence, but refers to the non-substantiality, dependent origination, impermanence, and non-self of phenomena in the world. The term form in the statements, form is emptiness, emptiness is form in the Heart Sutra does not mean existence, as many critics of Buddhism misunderstand and distort. Form is a Buddhist term referring to the general physical or material aggregates. Form or rupa can be roughly translated as form or matter or the human body in the context of the five aggregates. Form consists of four basic elements: earth, water, fire, and wind. These four elements provide the atoms that form the properties or functions of the human body, such as solidity, liquidity, heat, and air or movement. From these four physical elements arise the five sensory organs: eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, and their corresponding objects: form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. According to the Buddha, the material aggregate in the five human aggregates is formed from physical elements, created by the father's sperm and mother's egg, nourished by food, and is in a state of constant change. When analyzing form or rupa, the Buddha did not acknowledge an independent essence, but instead affirmed that this material aggregate only plays a functional role and depends on the interdependent relationship and cause and effect with the mental activities of feeling, ideation, formation, and consciousness. Therefore, form is dependent, originated, and non-substantial. Form is emptiness. In simpler terms, all material forms are dependently originated, non-self, and non-substantial. This truth also holds in the reverse process. Emptiness is form, meaning that dependently originated, non-substantial phenomena are also material forms. Speaking of material form is to speak of their non-self, impermanence, and dependent origination, emptiness. Thus, form is not different from emptiness. Similarly, conversely, referring to the non-self, impermanence, and dependent origination of phenomena is also referring to the non-substantial nature of material form. Thus, emptiness is not different from form. In summary, in Buddhism, the concept of form cannot be equated with existence, and emptiness cannot be equated with non-existence. These two pairs of terms have entirely different meanings. Therefore, interpretations that mislead and distort Buddhism by other religions regarding the meaning of the term emptiness as absolute nothingness or non-existence are not only incorrect but also lack a basis for existence. Emptiness in Buddhism. The Buddha nature of sentient beings is neither destroyed nor corrupted, neither bound nor hindered. Just as there is empty space within sentient beings, because all sentient beings possess this unobstructed emptiness, they do not perceive that they have this emptiness. Suppose sentient beings did not possess emptiness, then there would be no coming, going, standing, sitting, or lying down, no living or growing. For this reason, the sutras state that all sentient beings possess the realm of emptiness, and this realm of emptiness is called emptiness. The Buddha nature of sentient beings is similar. The bodhisattvas of the 10 abodes see a small part of it, like a diamond jewel. To discuss emptiness in Buddhism is to address an issue that many people still question, especially those outside of Buddhism who cannot understand this profound doctrine and thus make superficial or careless remarks to undervalue or slander Buddhism. Exploring emptiness is not simple because what does emptiness mean? Does it mean nothingness, emptiness, or void? Many people believe that Buddhism is a religion that leads to nihilism, similar to the concept of nothingness in Taoism. Some take the phrases, "the five aggregates are all empty," and form is not different from emptiness. Emptiness is not different from form. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, from the Heart Sutra to develop an incorrect view of Buddhism. Additionally, the Heart Sutra states, "This is the form of emptiness, neither arising nor ceasing, neither defiled nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing," which adds confusion about the term emptiness for those studying it. Why is there emptiness in Buddhism? We need to remember that the Buddha was a teacher, a guide, not a religious founder. That is, the Buddha did not invent or create a method to the path of liberation, but proclaimed and spread the inherent path that must go through such steps, processes, and stages to reach the ultimate goal. Before the Buddha Shakyamuni, countless beings had attained Buddhahood. After the Buddha, many more will become Buddhas, and even during the Buddha's time, many people attained Buddhahood. Hence, there are Buddhas of the three times, past, present, and future. all follow the same path to enlightenment. The Buddha Shakyamuni transmitted this path in the southern continent, Jambudvipa, or our earthly world, according to his vow. The Sarangama Sutra states, "From the one true mind, due to delusory thoughts and discrimination, there arise dualities, such as subject and object, which lead to the manifestation of emptiness and the world. Because there is emptiness and the world, there are sentient beings. With the presence of the world and sentient beings interacting with each other, countless delusory discriminations arise, good, bad, right, wrong. Hence, all kinds of defilements and afflictions come into being. What has form and undergoes birth and death is the world. What is formless and tranquil is emptiness. What is different from emptiness in the world are sentient beings. Thus, from the true mind, due to delusion and agitation, emptiness arises. Emptiness becomes obscured due to ignorance. And because of discriminatory thoughts, emptiness in the world arise. Those things that do not belong to the world and emptiness are sentient beings." Also in the Sarangama Sutra, the Buddha pointed out the specific causes and sequential arising of the universe. In that same emptiness, upon attaining enlightenment, the Buddha revealed that the Buddha's body is immense. "My body encompasses the 10 directions of infinite space, and when it is small, it can sit within a grain of dust and turn the great Dharma wheel without any hindrance." The Buddha further speaks of this emptiness in the Great Nirvana Sutra as follows. "Good man, just now you asked why the Tathagata lies down without sitting up, does not demand food or drink, and does not instruct relatives to take care of his possessions. Good man, the nature of emptiness also does not sit up, does not demand food or drink, does not instruct relatives to take care of possessions, does not go or come, does not arise or cease, is neither old nor young, neither rises nor sets, is neither destroyed nor liberated, neither bound nor freed, neither speaks of self nor of others, neither understands self nor others, is neither food nor illness. Good man, all dharmas are originally without self-nature, so I say in verse, before there was nothing, now there is something. Before there was something, now there is nothing. The dharma of the 3 times does not have this reason. Good man, all dharmas arise due to causes and conditions, and also cease due to causes and conditions. If sentient beings possess Buddha nature, then all sentient beings should have a Buddha body like mine today. The Buddha nature of sentient beings is neither destroyed nor corrupted, neither bound nor hindered. Just as there is empty space within sentient beings, because all sentient beings possess this unobstructed emptiness, they do not perceive that they have this emptiness. Suppose sentient beings did not possess emptiness, then there would be no coming, going, standing, sitting, or lying down, no living or growing. For this reason, the sutras state that all sentient beings possess the realm of emptiness, and this realm of emptiness is called emptiness. The Buddha nature of sentient beings is similar. The bodhisattvas of the 10 abodes see a small part of it, like a diamond jewel. From the excerpts above, we can contemplate many issues to explain emptiness in Buddhism. First, emptiness arises from the true mind due to delusion and agitation. Emptiness becomes obscured due to ignorance and due to discriminatory thoughts. Emptiness in the world arise. Everything arises from causes and conditions coming together at the right time to form something else, dependent origination. The occurrence of one event leads to another continuously, interdependent origination. However, all events when dependently arisen will eventually be destroyed, leading to the formation of something else according to the principles of arising, abiding, changing, and ceasing, forming, existing, decaying, and void, and for humans and sentient beings, birth, aging, sickness, and death. With concrete form, rupa, it is also impermanent, always changing over time or instantaneously, impermanence, and upon death or destruction, it returns to emptiness. What it borrowed from the elements is returned to the elements, and in that state of emptiness, it awaits other conditions to combine into something else. In that something else, it will be destroyed to return to the state of emptiness. Therefore, in Buddhism, there is mention of not, existence, not existence, true emptiness and wondrous existence. Hence, having or not having are just 2 forms of the same essence manifesting alternately. Therefore, Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara deeply contemplated and clearly saw the 5 aggregates as empty. Whether form exists or not makes no difference. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, thus seeing no suffering. Similarly, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness follow the same as form. Regarding dharmas, dharmas are inherently formless, neither arising nor ceasing, neither defiled nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing, unchanging over time. In the article, A Brief Explanation of the Meaning of Emptiness in Buddhism, Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh explained the meaning of emptiness on 6 dimensions. 1. Emptiness in meditation, going to an empty place to meditate, and dwelling in emptiness or the nature of emptiness. 2. Emptiness means non-self, because emptiness is the non-substantiality of self in phenomena. 3. Emptiness means dependent origination, impermanence, and non-self. The characteristic of phenomena is non-substantiality or dependent origination or non-self. 4. Emptiness in the middle way. Meditative contemplation on the nature of emptiness and dependent origination of phenomena is one of the methods to eliminate attachment and craving, leading to the tranquilization of formations effectively. 5. The method of contemplation on emptiness, provisionality, and the middle. All phenomena arise due to conditions. Therefore, they are called emptiness, non-substantiality, or also called provisional names or the middle way. 6. The meaning of form. In form is emptiness. Form is merely a dependent material aggregate, depending on other mental activities, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. So it has no substantial essence. Emptiness. Form is emptiness. However, as we have quoted the 2 passages from the Great Nirvana Sutra above, they also reveal another issue. Let us record it again. Good man, the nature of emptiness does not sit up, does not demand food or drink, does not instruct relatives to take care of possessions, does not go or come, does not arise or cease, is neither old nor young, neither rises nor sets, is neither destroyed nor liberated, neither bound nor freed, neither speaks of self nor of others, neither understands self nor others, is neither food nor illness. And the Buddha nature of sentient beings is neither destroyed nor corrupted, neither bound nor hindered. Just as there is empty space within sentient beings, because all sentient beings possess this unobstructed emptiness, they do not perceive that they have this emptiness. Suppose sentient beings did not possess emptiness, then there would be no coming, going, standing, sitting, or lying down, no living or growing. For this reason, the sutras state that all sentient beings possess the realm of emptiness, and this realm of emptiness is called emptiness. The Buddha nature of sentient beings is similar. The bodhisattvas of the 10 abodes see a small part of it, like a diamond jewel. Thus, the Buddha confirms that each sentient being possesses the realm of emptiness, which is also a component of the structure of sentient beings, enabling them to grow, move, stand, sit, lie down, and function. But the nature of emptiness is neither going nor coming, neither eating nor drinking, neither arising nor ceasing, aging nor deteriorating. It does not differentiate self and others. So what role does the realm of emptiness within each sentient being play? Let us pay attention to 2 passages from the Surandama Sutra. But I, the Buddha, am contrary to delusory dust, in accord with the true mind, always abiding, neither arising nor ceasing, pervading the entire Dharma realm. Therefore, I am free and unobstructed, in one, appearing as many, in many, appearing as one, appearing large within the small and small within the large, without leaving the Dharma throne, yet appearing throughout the 10 directions. My body encompasses the 10 directions of infinite space. On the tip of a single hair, I manifest all lands. Sitting within a grain of dust, I turn the great Dharma wheel. Because I have extinguished delusory dust and returned to the pure, clear original mind, I can achieve this. When the mind is completely purified, the bright wisdom light emerges. At that time, your true mind, both tranquil and illuminating, pervades the 10 directions of empty space and the world. Then, seeing the current worldly phenomena will be like witnessing events in a dream. Once you achieve this, the enchantress Mara of your dreams cannot bind you. From the above passages, we see the Buddha mentioning characteristics of an enlightened one in harmony with emptiness as follows. Always abiding, neither arising nor ceasing, pervading the entire Dharma realm. Free and unobstructed, without leaving the Dharma throne, yet appearing throughout the 10 directions. My body encompasses the 10 directions of infinite space, returning to the pure, clear original mind, true mind both tranquil and illuminating. These points help us understand that an aspirant achieving supreme enlightenment will rely on the nature of emptiness to neither arise nor cease, to extend infinitely with endless emptiness, and rely on emptiness to contract as small as a dust particle placed on the tip of a hair while performing the great task, turning the great Dharma wheel without any obstruction. In the era of computers and television today, we can understand the supernatural powers often mentioned in the sutras. The Buddha can condense the entire world and himself as small as a dust particle to turn the great Dharma wheel, with everything within it appearing unchanged, like a screen displaying scenes from an individual's growth to homes, the locality, the earth, the solar system, galaxies, and gradually the entire universe. Then, they are condensed into a bubble that shrinks and shrinks into a point on the screen, and finally disappears or becomes as small as a dust particle. This image is like the entire universe being condensed within a dust particle that can be placed on the tip of a hair, while everything within it remains unchanged. And why, when enlightened, does the Buddha's body encompass the 10 directions of infinite space? We can understand this more easily with the example of the alaya consciousness. When the alaya consciousness belongs to an ordinary sentient being, it is like a bag containing seeds, karmic seeds. But when there are no more bad seeds causing one to reincarnate to repay karma, that is when the aspirant achieves enlightenment. The alaya consciousness bag will naturally break, and the aspirant's mind, now the true mind, because the deluded mind has been extinguished, will rely on emptiness to expand infinitely in endless space to become the Buddha's body. That body, when wanting to be large, fills all space. When wanting to be small, contracts as small as a dust particle. This expansion and contraction are unimpeded, unobstructed body. And this expansion or contraction happens in a single thought. So the statement, in a single thought, Buddhas can travel through the 3,000 great thousand worlds is understood this way. If so, does that mean that in endless space there are many Buddhas hidden within each other? Exactly, which is why the Buddha taught, in one appearing as many, in many appearing as one, appearing large within the small and small within the large, without leaving the Dharma throne, yet appearing throughout the 10 directions. The Buddha also described this comprehensive state as follows. Just like hundreds of thousands of lamps, all lit in one room, the light of each lamp illuminates the entire room, but they do not mix or interfere with each other. All Buddhas reside in the space Dharma realm and are also called nirvana, as Venerable Ananda said to the Buddha. Ananda, revered world-honored one, enlightenment, nirvana, true suchness, Dharma nature, immaculate wisdom, empty thusness store, and great perfect mirror wisdom, though having different names, are all the same pure and eternal Buddha fruit. This statement indicates where nirvana is and what nirvana is. Nirvana is a state of purity, pervading the 10 directions of empty space and the world, the dwelling place that an aspirant reaches upon enlightenment, as recorded in the Surangama Sutra. Fulunar, when facing worldly phenomena, world, sentient beings, karmic results, just do not give rise to delusory thoughts and discriminations. Then greed, anger, and ignorance, 3 conditions, will not arise. When the 3 conditions do not arise, the 3 causes of killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct do not come into being. At that time, the deluded man in delusion in your mind will disappear, and its disappearance is enlightenment, clarity. At that time your true mind, both tranquil and illuminating, will manifest throughout the Dharma realm without the need for hard and difficult cultivation or seeking from anyone. And the Buddha speaks of the true mind. It is wondrously serene, luminous, pervading the entire Dharma realm. The wondrous true mind, serene yet always illuminating, inherently luminous and wondrously illuminating. In the Tathagata Aham Sutra, the Buddha clearly indicated how to find nirvana. The Tathagata declares that the world, the origin of the world, the cessation of the world, and the path leading to the cessation of the world are all contained within this fathom-long body, along with its perception and thoughts. Nirvana, for the practitioner, has 2 forms. There are 2 forms of experiencing nirvana. Experiencing nirvana while still bearing the 5 aggregates, and experiencing nirvana when no longer bearing the 5 aggregates. Monks, what is experiencing nirvana while still bearing the 5 aggregates? Here, monks, an arahant monk has eliminated all defilements, lived the holy life, accomplished what should be done, laid down the burden, attained the goal, eliminated all bonds of existence. A monk who has right understanding and has been liberated. His senses remain, and since he has not entirely abandoned the senses, he still experiences good and bad results. The cessation of his greed, hatred, and ignorance is called experiencing nirvana while still bearing the five aggregates. Monks, what is experiencing nirvana when no longer bearing the five aggregates? Here, monks, an arahant monk, has been liberated. In this very life, he is no longer attached to physical sensations. He is cooled. This is experiencing nirvana when no longer bearing the five aggregates. Experiencing nirvana while still bearing the five aggregates is nirvana with remainder, and nirvana without remainder is nirvana when no longer bearing the five aggregates. Thus, emptiness in Buddhism is not a hypothetical or vague concept. These emptinesses point to the empty, non-substantial, and provisional aspects of things. But emptiness is the place of abiding and all-encompassing for all elements, and it is also the place where the mind of each sentient being, upon achieving enlightenment, merges into the true mind within true suchness, dharma nature, nirvana, or more accurately called empty thusness store. Therefore, emptiness in Buddhism does not mean non-existence, nor does it imply a vague or obscure meaning like nothingness in Taoism. The emptiness in Buddhism is very concrete and the highest aspiration that practitioners seek to find. Hello everyone, welcome to Mind Podcast Buddhism, the best channel for sharing knowledge about Buddhism. Today we will talk about the topic, true suchness as conditioned arising. This profound concept, present in many Mahayana schools, explores the ultimate reality and how all phenomena arise and exist within it. Join us as we delve into the essence of true suchness and its significance in understanding the nature of existence and our place in the universe. True suchness as conditioned arising. Sketching true suchness as conditioned arising. True suchness as conditioned arising is a doctrine present in most Mahayana sects, such as the Middle Way, Madhyamaka, Consciousness Only, Yogacara, Flower Ornament, Huayan, Tiantai, Vajrayana, and others. We use the term doctrine here akin to a philosophical theory because when studied from the standpoint of thought and concepts, which is what we are currently doing, it is a doctrine, relative truth, conventional truth. However, when one truly experiences true suchness, it is no longer a doctrine, a finger pointing at the moon, but it is the absolute truth, the ultimate truth, the moon itself. What is true suchness to Thada? Generally defined, true suchness is the reality that is neither arising nor ceasing, neither pure nor impure, neither increasing nor decreasing. It is the primordial and ultimate reality from which all phenomena arise. Using terms from the awakening of faith in the Mahayana, true suchness is the mind of true suchness as opposed to the mind of arising and ceasing, the nature of true suchness, the Tathagatagarbha, the one mind, the great essence of the one Dharma realm. Emptiness, the Dharma body, original enlightenment, ultimate enlightenment, the mirror-like space, the nature of awareness, the mind, the nature of the Dharma realm, the Buddha nature, etc. We can broadly define true suchness as conditioned arising as follows. Everything we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, form, sound, smell, taste, touch, dharma, arises from true suchness, exists within true suchness, and ceases within true suchness. In other words, all phenomena we experience are true suchness. True suchness as conditioned arising is extensively discussed in the Avatamsaka Sutra, Flower Ornament Sutra, and the Lotus Sutra. The Avatamsaka Sutra states, "The three realms are but one mind," chapter on the 10 grounds. The Lotus Sutra, particularly in the chapters on the divine powers of the Tathagata and the lifespan of the Tathagata, part of the original gate according to Master Ji's analysis, directly and profoundly discusses true suchness as conditioned arising. The Lankavatara Sutra states, "The Tathagatagarbha is the cause of both good and evil, from which all forms of life arise. Like an actor taking on various forms, there is no self and no possession. Not knowing this, the three conditions come together as a means of arising. Non-Buddhists, not knowing this, believe in a creator and a cause. Due to evil habits and false notions accumulated from time immemorial, it is called the storehouse consciousness, alaya vijnana. which changes along with the seven consciousnesses and is perfumed by fundamental ignorance, like an ocean with waves continually arising. If one is free from the faults of not seeing impermanence and free from attachment to self, then the Tathagata Garbha is free from defilement and ultimately pure in its nature. Great bodhisattvas who want to progress to the ultimate must purify the Tathagata Garbha, which is still the alaya consciousness. Without this storehouse consciousness, there would be no arising and ceasing. O Mahamati, the realm of the Tathagata Garbha is inherently pure, but those who are not enlightened are defiled by external dust, so they still see it as impure. Scroll 8. The Srimala Devi Sutra states, birth and death rely on the Tathagata Garbha. Because of the Tathagata Garbha, there is birth and death. This is what the wise say. Birth and death, these two dharmas, are the Tathagata Garbha. According to worldly terms, it is said there is birth and death, but it is not that the Tathagata Garbha has birth and death. The Tathagata Garbha is inherently free from conditioned marks. The Tathagata Garbha is eternally abiding, unchanging, thus it is the foundation, the sustainer, the establisher. All forms are nature, all waves are the unmoving pure ocean, all existence is the Tathagata Garbha. The Great Prajna Sutra, chapter on equal learning states, all dharmas are inherently pure. In these dharmas, if the bodhisattva's mind comprehends without delusion, that is the perfection of wisdom. The Sarangama Sutra scroll 4 states, the Tathagata Garbha is not mind, not earth, water, fire, or wind, not the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind, not form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharmas, not the eye consciousness up to the mind consciousness, not ignorance or the end of ignorance. Thus, it is not old age and death, nor the end of old age and death, not suffering, origination, cessation, path, not wisdom, not attainment, not giving, precepts, patience, diligence, meditation, wisdom, not the perfections, thus up to, not the Tathagata, worthy one, perfectly enlightened one, not great nirvana, not permanence, bliss, self, or purity. All are not worldly or transcendental dharmas. The Tathagata Garbha is the mind, is emptiness, is earth, water, fire, wind, is the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, is form, sound, smell, taste, touch. Dharmas is the eye realm up to the mind realm, is ignorance, is the end of ignorance. Thus it is old age and death, the end of old age and death, suffering, origination, cessation, path, wisdom, attainment, giving, precepts, patience, diligence, meditation, wisdom, the perfections, thus up to the Tathagata, worthy one, perfectly enlightened one, is great nirvana, is permanence, bliss, self, purity. All are worldly and transcendental dharmas. The Tathagata Garbha is beyond is and is not, both is and is not. In summary, true suchness as conditioned arising, or Tathagata Garbha as conditioned arising, or Dharma realm as conditioned arising, is the true emptiness and wonderful existence. According to the terminology of the awakening of faith in the Mahayana, true suchness as conditioned arising is the empty Tathagata Garbha, true emptiness, and the non-empty Tathagata Garbha, wonderful existence. In ordinary language, true suchness is what encompasses all contradictions and opposites, being and non-being, movement and stillness, one and many, real and illusory, form and formlessness, while remaining pure, not defiled by them. True suchness as conditioned arising, or true emptiness and wonderful existence, must be practiced to be experienced. Otherwise it remains a speculative philosophy, a finger pointing at the moon, a signpost to the ultimate reality. If it is merely a kind of philosophy based on and working with concepts, then in Buddhism it inevitably falls into argumentation and the cycle of limited, arising and ceasing consciousness. The Lankavatara Sutra says, arising and ceasing is consciousness, non-arising is wisdom. The one bound by forms is consciousness. The one not bound is wisdom, Mahamati. I say that the cessation of false consciousness is called nirvana. Nirvana is another name for true suchness. Applying it to real life, true suchness is all of life, so the application of true suchness as conditioned arising is present in all areas of life. Here we will briefly look at a few areas. Although the path of human beings is to reach the absolute truth, to attain the non-arising and non-ceasing wisdom, at the beginning and along the way, we still need to use arising and ceasing consciousness, that is, relative truth. In other words, we have not yet realized true suchness as conditioned arising, so we live with it on the level of consciousness, thought, and the path we are on, but in the right direction. The cause is a relative consciousness, but if practiced correctly, the result will be the non-arising and non-ceasing wisdom that penetrates true suchness. Let us consider true suchness as conditioned arising in comparison with some other philosophies to see its practical benefits in life. Practical here is understood in the high and beautiful sense of the word. Pragmatic philosophy or practical philosophy, advocated and developed by Charles S. Peirce, 1839 to 1914, William James, 1840 to 1910, and John Dewey, 1850 to 1954, all Americans. Pragmatic philosophy, when evaluating the value of a philosophy, bases it on its practical results impacting life. For example, James' essay Philosophical Conceptions and Practical Results, 1898, is an example. Here, we will examine the effects of the doctrine of true suchness as conditioned arising in three themes: time and history, things, nature and humans, and academic studies. Time and history, with true suchness as conditioned arising. This universe arises from true suchness according to the karma of all sentient beings, arises from true suchness, exists and is established in by true suchness, and ceases in true suchness. The universe is the transformation of true suchness according to the karma of each species. The universe of humans is true suchness manifested through the body, speech, and mind karma of humans. True suchness, as the primordial and ultimate reality, both transcends the universe and is immanent within the universe. In the non-dual logic of Mahayana, the transcendence of true suchness is its immanence. Thus, the universe in this world, though perceived in any way, still contain the true face of humans, still the true home of humans. It is in the manifestation of the universe's form that humans, in their development and evolution, can recognize true suchness at any time and place. It is in this diverse world that humans will see the true face of everything as true suchness. Humans are not lost in an unconscious, alien universe with no sacredness. On the contrary, they feel lost because they do not recognize their true and sacred, transcendent face and that of the world. They have never left their true, pure homeland. Salvation, liberation is always within their reach, or more precisely, within themselves, when they purify their vision, when they transform consciousness into wisdom, when they see birth and death as the non-birth and non-death of nirvana, of true suchness. Therefore, for Buddhism, the ultimate reality is present here and now. All paths, all methods of Buddhism, however different they may appear on the surface, lead to this here and now. In contrast, Western theology conceives the ultimate reality as a personal God who created the universe from nothing, ex nihilo. God is the first cause, the first mover who created the universe. But God is outside the universe, not within it. For humans too, God created them, even in His image, but outside of them. The universe and humans are outside God, so to reach the ultimate reality which is God, humans have to pass through an unconscious, alien universe and through their own equally alien fate. Humans cannot meet the ultimate reality through their own efforts. Everything depends on God's will. The questions continue to perplex theologians. If God is good and created the universe, why is there evil in the universe? History, according to Western thought, is linear, and only at the end of human history does it meet God again in the final judgment, which is also the end of the world. Thus, history is just a wait for its end to be re-established in a new heaven and new earth, with the remaining humans because they were chosen. History is the history of the absence of the ultimate reality, because the ultimate reality is outside history, outside human fate. The linear view of history influenced great philosophers like Hegel, 1770 to 1831. For Hegel, although the world spirit is immanent in the world, humans cannot directly reach the world spirit, the absolute. They must wait for the world spirit to complete its dialectical process through the universe to its final perfection. Only then will humans be perfected. The separation of the world, history, and humans from the ultimate reality creates Western tragedy. In the 19th century, Nietzsche said, "God is dead. If God is outside humans and the universe, then God can indeed die. But if God is within humans, all sentient beings have Buddha nature, and within the universe, then how can God die as long as there are humans?" Works in the 20th century, whose titles reveal the severed tragedy between God and humans in the universe. In Search of Lost Time, Marcel Proust, Exile and Kingdom, The Rebel, The Stranger, The Myth of Sisyphus, Albert Camus, Waiting for Godot, Samuel Beckett, The Age of Suspicion, Nathalie Sarraute. Western history is linear, apocalyptic, and lacks the ultimate reality within it. It only meets the ultimate reality at the end, meaning when history has ended. It is a history seeking the ultimate reality at the end, but itself lacks the ultimate reality. History is meaningless. Jean-Paul Sartre's observation highlights this situation clearly. Most great modern writers, Proust, Joyce, Dos Passos, Faulkner, each in their own way, try to destroy time. Some remove past and future, reducing time to the pure consciousness of the present moment. Never before in the 20th century have the rapid mutations and collapses of historical processes made people realize the absurdity of time, the absence of the future. Thus, when a memory only freezes the contingencies and eternal returns of a life in a single moment, it is not surprising because the moment is the mutual encompassing and opposition of the before by the after. Sartre, Saint-Genet, Comedian et Martyr, 1952, quoted from 20th century French literature history, Deng Dihan editor, National University Publishing House, Hanoi, 2005. Western history is the history of humanity expelled from the Garden of Eden, a banishment into the world with no chance of self-restoration. It is the history of losing the ultimate reality that only the death of history itself can redeem. The parable of the prodigal son in the Bible and the parable of the poor son returns in the Lotus Sutra are similar in speaking about the human condition, but they are very different in their resolutions, looking at the overall picture of the two cultures. History, according to the East, especially Buddhism, is always an opportunity for humans. It is salvation for humans because history is the development of true suchness according to human karma. History is not hiding or veiling. When asked what the ultimate reality is, Zen master Wu Yantong, the first patriarch of a Zen lineage in Vietnam, replied, "Never hidden and everywhere." Humans always have the opportunity to encounter and find the ultimate reality at any moment in time and space, meaning at any point in history. All Buddhist sects agree that humans can encounter, understand, realize, and integrate the ultimate reality here and now. For Buddhism, time and space are not only relative but even unreal, hence liberation is possible. The focal point, the ultimate goal of Western history is in the future, at the end, teleology. The focal point, the ultimate goal of Eastern history is here and now. It only requires human minds to be clear and pure enough to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and think. Things, nature, and humans. The afflictions or errors of humans lie in the discrimination and separation between subject and object, including the transcendent object of the ultimate reality. One of the issues addressed by the Surangama Sutra is why there is this body and mind and the external world, and how to bridge the gap. This is perhaps the first and fundamental suffering of all human suffering. Western culture originates from Greece in the Old Testament. The book of Genesis states, "God blessed them and said to them, 'Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground.'" Genesis 1, verse 28. When Adam and Eve sinned by eating the forbidden fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, God said to the woman, "I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." Genesis 3:16. And to Adam, "The ground will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you are taken. For dust you are, and to dust you will return." Genesis 3:18-19. In the Old Testament, nature always brings suffering to humans. Resisting and conquering nature must also mean resisting and conquering suffering. The relationship between humans and nature is one of violence, hostility, and struggle. Nature is a curse on human fate. Today, with science and technology, humans have solved that curse. But along with this, nature is dying. The earth is dying. We are losing a companion, even an elder brother, because nature preceded us, and the death of the earth is also our death. From the Greek and Old Testament sources to Descartes and modern philosophers, the separation between subject and object remains unresolved. Science and technology deepen this separation by making humans exploit and conquer nature to satisfy endless ambitions. Pushing the life of nature into the realm of inanimate matter, being aggressive towards nature, thus being aggressive towards humans, is a short step. This is the characteristic of Western culture. The East, on the other hand, always seeks harmony with nature. Only in recent decades, faced with the imminent depletion and destruction of the earth, bringing humanity's impending death, has the West started talking about the environment, nature, and living in harmony with nature. Human history, according to the West, is the history of humanity expelled from Eden, seeking the lost paradise by building a new material paradise with the resources of this earth. Meanwhile, Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." The greatest illusion of Western civilization is thinking that humans will be happy, peaceful, and build a happy and peaceful future by disregarding nature, disregarding other humans, exploitation and war, colonialism, and most importantly, disregarding their true inner self. The illusion that one can find a paradise outside oneself, a paradise built by conquering nature, conquering others, and concealing one's deep inner self increasingly shows its immediate consequences. It must be emphasized that we say one should not progress through illusions, through setting false premises, rather than saying one should not progress materially. Meanwhile, the East says, if the mind is peaceful, the world is peaceful. The mind leads all dharmas. Interpreted in our ordinary way, if the mind is correct, good and beautiful, everything, the natural world and the world we create will be correct, good and beautiful. Naturally, the result is no suffering. No one creates original sin for us like Adam and Eve. We must take responsibility for our ongoing errors. This is our current wrong view and actions regarding nature, humans, and the ultimate reality. For the East, the core philosophy of which is true suchness as conditioned arising, nature and others are not objects or adversaries to conquer, wage war against, and dominate on our path of evolution. Each thing in nature is a true suchness as conditioned arising. Each human is a true suchness as conditioned arising. We, nature and others share the same emptiness, the same true suchness. If there's a difference in levels, it is a difference due to the degree of awareness, more or less, of this fundamental unity, consciously or instinctively. This is the knowledge that brings peace and happiness to all beings. If we can experience this inherent equality, nature, wisdom, that is happiness, ultimate happiness, because it ends all conflict, greed and hatred, war. Buddhism includes many paths, many ways to end ignorance, the view that separates and cuts off the subject and object, which leads to the modern disease of loneliness. When ignorance dissolves to any extent, true suchness reveals itself to that extent. Ignorance is the deep-rooted illusion that there are chasms separating us from nature, from others, and from the ultimate reality. Separation from nature, from others, and from the ultimate reality is also separation from ourselves. Our alienation continues, our suffering continues. The two fundamental harmful attitudes to ourselves are greed and hatred. Not getting what we want leads to hatred, both arising from this separation. These chasms causing suffering are not addressed. All science, technology, philosophy, literature, politics, economics, and social organization are powerless to fill them, if not exacerbate them when there is no right view. That is why, despite all developments in every field, Buddhism remains as a cure for all ailments. In Buddhist literature, the Buddha is still called the great physician king for this reason. Through true suchness as conditioned arising, we restore the sacredness, true suchness, the transcendence, the ineffable quality to the world, nature, and humans, including ourselves. Seeing everything as sacred within true suchness means we have sanctified our lives, returning ourselves to our true, sacred, and transcendent self. The allegory of the philosopher's stone in the West and the staff in the East, turning the entire universe into pure gold, has this meaning. To conclude this section, we quote two lines of verse by Zen master Tian Lao, 11th century, in response to King Li Tai Tong. Green bamboo and yellow flowers are not outside the mind. The clear moon and white clouds reveal the whole truth. This is the view of those who truly see and know, right view. As Zen master Mazu said, if one establishes the Dharma realm, then all are the Dharma realm. If one establishes true suchness, then all are true suchness. Or as Zen master Huangbo said, nature and form are not different. Mind and environment are one. Seeing thus, how could there be a destroyed earth, ruined by greed? How could there be objects dying faster due to consumerism? Human studies. When we say true suchness is the true nature and true form of all phenomena, we immediately see that true suchness is the goal of all subjects, all research fields, because all fields aim to understand the essence, form, and function of an object of study. In Buddhism, all academic studies and research fall under the realm of relative truth because they rely on the finite rationality of humans. For example, according to Kant, reason cannot comprehend or grasp the thing in itself, the ultimate reality, reality as it is. Reason only understands the world of phenomena, phenomenon, but cannot reach the essence, noumenon. Later, for Sartre, the being in itself, the being for itself, is also the greatest impotence of human consciousness, the being for itself. Philosophers of science like Wittgenstein, Thomas Kuhn, Karl Popper have shown us the limits of science, which is the limit of reason. Practically, the inability to unify the theory of relativity and quantum physics, even theoretically, over nearly a century has demonstrated this. Only at a level beyond reason, at what we call the spiritual or wisdom level, can consciousness begin to experience absolute truth, true nature, and true form. Beyond reason, we call it spiritual because it cannot be quantified or qualified by science or logic. Only the spiritual or wisdom level can recognize and understand spirituality or wisdom. Hence, those who practice spirituality and have spiritual results in Western culture are still called mystics. For example, the power of precepts and what we call precept essence and meditation, insight, bodhicitta, dedication, cannot be measured by any machine or observation. Even depth psychology, psychoanalysis, cannot fathom what a mind free of afflictions is like because psychoanalysis only examines the mind, and that is the coarse mind. So how can it know what a mind without thoughts, no mind, is? With a mind free of afflictions, a mind without thoughts, no mind, psychoanalysis has lost its object of study, rendering it ineffective. The ideal of Buddhism as well as the East and the West is that relative truth, conventional truth can approach and reflect part of the absolute ultimate truth. The connection of relative and absolute truth, the connection of life and the way, is the goal of Mahayana Buddhism. And generally that is the path of liberation and enlightenment for the entire Buddhism. Currently, the ideal of each subject is to manifest and reflect a small part of the whole hologram. Hologram, a photograph taken with laser interference, each small part of which, when illuminated, shows the entire image of the whole photograph, of the entire universe. The great physicist Einstein once dreamed of such a relationship between science and Buddhism. The religion of the future must be a cosmic religion. It must transcend a personal God and avoid dogma and theology. Covering both the natural and the spiritual, it should be based on a religious sense arising from the experience of all things as a meaningful unity. Buddhism answers this description. If there is any religion that would cope with modern scientific needs, it would be Buddhism. The ideal relationship of sciences with each other and with this cosmic religion is that each part, each subject, is non-obstructive, mutually interpenetrating with each other, and non-obstructive, mutually interpenetrating with the cosmic religion. The view of non-obstruction of all parts with each other, while non-obstructive with the whole, is the view, standpoint, and the ultimate point of the Avatamsaka Sutra. In East Asia, academic studies are almost always connected and reference to the ultimate reality according to their view. For example, most disciplines have the word Tao, the way. Medical Tao, martial Tao, art Tao, human Tao, heavenly Tao, earth Tao, and reference to the supreme ultimate or the Tao. Chinese philosophers of the 11th and 12th centuries also debated the principle Tao in things in life. Unfortunately, they engaged in much speculation, but lacked scientific advances in a comprehensive wisdom like Buddhism. Recently, following that direction, theoretical physicist Fritjof Capra wrote the book The Tao of Physics, 1974, about the parallels between modern physics and Eastern Taoism. In the West, most subjects are attached with the suffix logi, ontology, phenomenology, sociology, psychology. This suffix logi originates from the Greek word logos, meaning the universal principle. In East Asia, it is called the Tao, and elevated further, it is true suchness. Thus, sociology can be translated as the Tao of society, psychology as the Tao of psychology. Both Eastern and Western studies aim to reach the ultimate reality, the Tao or Logos. The convergence to true suchness as the ultimate reality is the common goal of both Eastern and Western civilizations. For example, Buddhist art seeks to express true suchness in form. The art of both East and West also seeks to express the ultimate reality according to the style of each civilization, each people. Conclusion: in such a perspective, the sciences, relative truth, conventional truth, and true suchness as conditioned arising, absolute truth, ultimate truth, do not obstruct each other but complement and illuminate each other. For example, in modern physics, no fundamental particle or system is independent or exists separately. They interact with each other, co-arise with each other, even non-obstructive, mutually interpenetrating with each other. Thus, Buddhism does not oppose science, does not obstruct science as the study and research of human reason. On the contrary, it is evident that as sciences develop deeply and broadly with reason and goodwill, the truths of Buddhism become clearer. And perhaps, as Einstein hoped, the absolute truths of Buddhism will illuminate the paths of relative truths, the paradigms, a term of Thomas Kuhn, 1962, of science. Until relative truths reflect the absolute truth, are one with the absolute truth. Form is emptiness. Humans always seek happiness, the more enduring the better. But they still encounter suffering because they do not know how to establish the causes of happiness, but instead constantly sow the seeds of suffering. The sufferings, disasters from individuals to societies worldwide, prove how wrong our thoughts and actions are. The eternal dream of humanity is to connect their lives with the ultimate reality, with the absolute, to connect their careers, meaning their creative thinking and actions, with the ultimate reality. How to connect life with the way, that is the issue, even the only issue. Here, briefly, through some points above, we see true suchness as conditioned arising achieves that wish. The way comes to life. Life connects with the way through humans. Humans can understand, learn, and imitate. The term Fa of Laozi in the saying, humans imitate earth, earth imitates heaven, heaven imitates the Tao imitates nature. True suchness through its manifestations, in all human activities, science, politics, economics, society, etc. Because with a pure mind, humans can see the reflection of true suchness in the phenomenal world until they directly see it. As the Heart Sutra says, seeing form, phenomena, is seeing emptiness, essence. This is what is called learning, lifelong learning in the East. By learning true suchness in both form and essence, in both phenomena and essence, humans will understand, correspond to, and integrate true suchness. This is the sacred mission of humans, the sacred destiny of humans, connecting life with the way, the phenomenal world with the formless essence, connecting birth and death with nirvana, connecting the branch with the root, connecting departure with return, connecting time with the timeless, the finite with the infinite. Through some points above, we see the establishment of a Buddhist civilization is possible.